How I opened my coffee shop and what it taught me when I turned 28, I realized something. Everything I did felt meaningless. My office job seemed important on paper, but in reality, I just sent emails, made reports, nodded along to my boss, even when I wanted to scream, "This makes no sense." One evening, stuck in traffic, I took a wrong turn, ended up on a small hidden street, and there, I saw it. A tiny coffee shop, peeling walls, paper lanterns above the entrance. Inside, it smelled like pastries, cinnamon, vanilla. People laughed, talked. The barista spun an old record player. John Lennon's Imagine floated through the air. And amidst all that cozy chaos, I felt peace. I wanted to stay forever. The idea planted itself like a seed. At first I thought, it's just a fantasy. But every day at work, it grew stronger. I have to try. I read books about small businesses, watched videos, walked around the city, peeking into cafes, counting chairs, scanning menus. My notebook thickened with ideas. One night at a corporate event, they handed me a certificate for punctuality and diligence. People clapped. I stood there holding that ridiculous paper thinking, does anyone even know who I am? The next morning, I quit my job. Finding a place wasn't easy. Too expensive, too small, too cold. Until an old laundromat on the corner. Peeling paint, rusty pipes, a damp smell. But I saw potential in my mind. Cozy armchairs, the aroma of coffee, warm lights, bookshelves. I decided to call it The Turn, named after the turn that changed my life. The renovation took 3 months. I painted the walls myself, laid new floors with a friend, hunted flea markets for furniture, spent almost all my savings. On opening day, I was shaking. What if no one showed up? The first was a neighbor with his dog. He bought an Americano and said, "Nice place, smells real here." Then came the flower shop girl, a teenage boy for hot cocoa. Every night locking up, I thought, this is only the beginning. Weeks passed. Faces became familiar. Mr. Gregory, double espresso, no sugar. Anna, vanilla latte and a book. Kostya, the teenage boy dreaming of being a barista. We played vinyls, hosted movie nights, exchanged books. The Turn became a home for them and for me. One day a young guy said, "I've been writing my book here all week. This place feels right." A month later, he brought me his first chapter. Another regular used The Turn for first dates. She said, "If they don't feel the vibe, they're not worth a second date." I realized we weren't just selling coffee. We gave people a place where they belonged. One evening, closing up, a girl walked in. I knew her, the same girl I had seen in that tiny coffee shop years ago. She ordered a latte, sat by the window, reading Haruki Murakami. I brought her coffee and asked, "Do you like it here?" She smiled. "Very much. It's easy to breathe here." And I thought, sometimes one turn changes everything. It's been 3 years since we opened. The warm lights are still here. The smell of cinnamon, the old records spinning. People still laugh, still read, still meet. I didn't become a millionaire, but every morning I wake up thinking, I wonder who I'll meet today. And that is priceless. How I decided to leave the city and start a new life on a small island. I always thought I was a city person. The noise, the endless lights, the crowded streets. It all felt natural, comforting. But one day at the start of autumn, when the sky turned heavy and gray, I realized I was tired. Life wasn't bad. A stable IT job, a good salary, a cozy apartment. But every morning I woke up thinking, again? The same routine? Alarm clock, traffic, office, groceries, home, sleep. Then the alarm clock again. One morning riding the subway, I caught my reflection in the window, tired, gray, lost, just like everyone else. And then I saw it, a small ad on the subway wall. House for sale on a small island. Cozy, quiet, inquiries by phone. I snapped a picture and put my phone away. That evening, scrolling through my phone, I found the photo again, and I called the number. An older man answered. Calm, he warned me. The island is different. Only 20 houses, no stores, half an hour by boat. I laughed. Sounds perfect. We arranged to meet in a week, a train, a bus, a small motorboat. When I stepped onto the island, Michael was there, stocky, weathered, smiling calmly. He showed me around. Narrow paths, two-window cottages, the salty smell of the sea. The house was small, 2 rooms, a kitchen, a veranda with a view of the bay. Standing there, breathing in the cold air, I felt something I hadn't in years. Freedom. That night, by a fire with Michael and his wife, Emma, I signed the papers. Emma handed me tea and said, "The island feels too quiet at first, but soon you'll learn to hear yourself again." I smiled. I was ready to listen. The first days felt strange. No car horns, no sirens, only seagulls. The wind through the pines. Morning started barefoot on the porch, breathing the salty air, watching the water. Sometimes a boat would pass, someone would wave, and I would wave back. On the first day, I tried setting up Wi-Fi. Michael laughed. "Kid, internet's only in the library, and only on Thursdays." For the first time in years, I need no news feeds, no noise. And after a few days, I began to breathe easier. 20 families lived here. I learned their names. Sophie ran the supply shed. James and Margaret tended the gardens. Lucas, the boy who dreamed of a puppy. Daniel, the fisherman with the best cod I'd ever tasted. Here, no one asked, "What's your job?" They asked, "How was the catch today? Want some tea?" They valued who you were, not what you achieved. Of course, it wasn't perfect. Storms, delayed supplies, power outages. Some nights, I doubted my choice. But every morning, with coffee on the porch and the sea before me, the doubts melted away. I learned to chop firewood. I started reading again. I memorized sunsets. And I smiled, for no reason at all. One morning, drinking coffee, I saw her. Backpack slung over one shoulder. Muddy shoes. Lost expression. "Lost?" I asked. She laughed. "Wandered too far. I'm Emily." We sat. We talked. She was an illustrator, running from noise, just like me. Sundays became a ritual. Breakfast on the porch, walks to the old lighthouse. Sometimes we talked, sometimes we didn't. Life moved by moments, not hours. Good catch equals good day. Rainy day equals book day. Calm sea equals long walks. I didn't check my bank balance anymore, and it didn't matter. The real test came in late autumn. A storm fierce enough to tear the island apart. Waves licked the porch. Trees shook. The wind howled. We huddled together. Daniel, Sophie, James, Margaret, Lucas, Emily. We boarded windows, lit fires, made soup, and I understood. True life isn't comfort. It's holding on to each other. The island survived. So did we. People smiled, helped each other, rebuilt. Emily sat on the porch wrapped in a blanket. She looked at me and asked, "You're happy here, aren't you?" I looked at the sea, the sky, our neighbors. "Yes," I said. "I found what I was looking for." The next day, the first ferry arrived. "Anyone going back?" the captain joked. I smiled and stayed. Home was here now. Morning coffee on the porch, fishing trips, helping neighbors, sunset walks, long talks by the fire. Emily stayed too. Opened a small studio near the lighthouse. Sometimes she brings her drawings. We sit side by side, in silence, at peace. I didn't become rich or famous, but I became me. And if I hadn't noticed that little ad, I would have missed the laughter, the sunsets, the sound of real life. Now I know, sometimes all it takes is one small turn to find your way home.